Claims and objections period has ended. Government meets with involuntary re-migrant group. RSS report deemed confidential. And ramps to fight charges. I am Enrico Bulford, and this is Uncut News. Do you see news happening? Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. In an interview with Guyana Times on Wednesday, GCOM Public Relations Officer Yolanda Ward said that GCOM has completed its claims and objections period, capturing more than 3,000 new applicants who will be eligible to vote by October 31st, 2022. As well as 18 objections to names on the preliminary list of electors. There were 1,857 requests for transfers and 1,123 change correction transactions. On Tuesday, GWI signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Guyana Industrial Mineral Incorporated to establish a new water supply system in Sand Hills Region 3. The riverine community, with a population of approximately 60 to 70 people, including a primary school, health center, and church, currently relies on a spring and practices rainwater harvesting, but soon that won't be the case. It should be noted that this investment is in keeping with GWI's plan to provide 100% potable water access countrywide by 2025. On Tuesday, residents of Santa Rosa Village, Maruca, Region 1, protested their Toshao, Stavros Stanley, accusing him of being involved in corruption. Stanley reportedly failed to give account for some $9.5 million he allegedly received from the government for coffee farmers. They were reportedly motivated to take protests against him after a letter was published in one of the daily newspapers, claiming that no attention is being paid to allegations of corruption in indigenous communities. Kaija News reached out to Stanley for a comment, but according to Stanley, a relative of his had just died, so he's unable to give a statement at the moment, but he will give one at a more appropriate time. Yes, that's his actual excuse. On the topic of protest, employees of the Linden Utility Services Co-op Society Limited have been on strike for over 2 weeks in protest of the government-installed Interim Management Committee, which they deem violates the rules of the co-op society. The government had established the IMC in April after the Chief Cooperative Development Officer deemed that the body is being mismanaged. Residents of Pyrumia Village in Region 7 will no longer have to travel long hours to Camarang Village or even Georgetown to seek medical services, following the construction of a doctor's quarters. The house was built at a cost of 14.8 million Guyana dollars. The doctor should be arriving shortly. Today, a viewer submitted a recent event for us to highlight. Patrick Triumph with Jukata Juvant Friendly Society recently held a consultative meeting with Minister Ashni Singh to discuss issues relating to meaningfully and effectively reintegrating involuntary remigrants into society in Guyana. According to Triumph, the meeting is the most significant overture from a government administration they've received since the organization's founding. Despite the fact that dozens of Guyanese are deported back to Guyana each year, there are not many support services to aid in their reintegration. The organization seeks to change that situation. It might not be robbery season, but the streets are still mean. That's why you need to get security for your home and business through Sheriff Security Service. Sheriff Security offers well-trained guards, armed and unarmed patrol, marine patrol, canine services. These people even got drones. Why? Because your security is their highest priority. You've seen the rest, now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's Car of the Week. Currently on sale is this 2016 Toyota Crown Athlete. It comes with Bluetooth mount rims, new tires, TV, CD, stereo, fog lamps, back camera, and much, much more. Buy cash for $9.95 million, or pay as low as $1.99 million down, with around $170,000 monthly for 5 years, and it is yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info. Visit their showrooms at Lot 171 Bidoshi, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell them the Rico sent you for this sweet deal. According to the Guyana Police Force, last night, 35-year-old Tabatinga resident Dwayne Johnson was busted with 18 pounds of marijuana and 2 pounds of cocaine in the trunk of his vehicle in Lethem, Region 9. The unemployed man was arrested, whilst his reputed wife and baby, who were also in the vehicle, were not kept in police custody. Johnson is to face drug trafficking charges soon. The Minister of Home Affairs has refused a request by Detective Dion Bascom's attorney, Nigel Hughes, for a copy of the full report by the Regional Security System on the Ricardo Facundes murder investigation. According to Minister Ben, the RSS report was produced because of an inquiry initiated by the President, and therefore the report remains confidential. The Home Affairs Minister did not share any details of the report despite promising to do so. But the Home Affairs Ministry did issue a statement moments after it received the final report, claiming that the RSS investigation found no evidence of a police cover-up. While the motive remains unknown, the police are currently questioning two city students in relation to the murder of 19-year-old GTI student Samuel Granham, who was brutally beaten and robbed by a group of males last Friday near Starbuck Square in Georgetown. The police are also reviewing CCTV footage for additional suspects. Yesterday, Ganesh Dhanraj was sentenced to serve 10 years and 7 months in prison for strangling his 29-year-old wife, Dhanwanti Ram, with a bedsheet on April 5, 2017 at the home in Parika, East Bank, Essequibo. Justice Barlow started Dhanraj's sentence at 24 years and deducted 1/3 for his early plea, along with 5 years, 5 months for time spent in pre-trial custody, thus leaving him with 10 years, 7 months. On Tuesday, Kanu busted 5 men across 3 different cocaine busts. In the first operation, 34-year-old Lachram Parmesh and Yusuf Passad were nabbed with about 4.7 pounds of cocaine while driving along the Baggetstown Public Road on the West Bank. Next was 51-year-old William Mittelhoser and 42-year-old Anthony Cadogan. The duo were caught with 2.174 kilos of cocaine at Good Fortune on the West Bank. Meanwhile, 63-year-old Roy Thomas, 63-year-old Roy Thomas was busted with over 16.8 grams of the white stuff at Good Forwachton on the East Coast. All 5 are facing formal charges soon. Aslam Masood, the sand truck driver responsible for the fatal accident that claimed the life of businessman Nigel Cush along Mandela Avenue, has pleaded guilty to causing death by dangerous driving. He apologized for his actions and admitted that he was speeding at the time of the accident. He was then sentenced to 5 years in prison. Now for today's oil update. Ramps Logistics says they are ready to fight the charges instituted by the GRA on Wednesday for false declarations. The company has issued a statement calling the charges baseless. Ramps stated that every declaration filed with the GRA is in respect to duty-free imports. Ramps said there are no taxes or duty applicable on the imports, and so there is no loss of revenue to the GRA. On July 25th of this year, Ramps said its lawyers wrote the GRA explaining why the allegations had no legal basis and clearly outlined the sections of the Guyana Customs Act that they relied on to form this opinion. 8 weeks later, Ramps said GRA responded, but it did not address any of the legal points raised by its lawyers. Bringing us to yesterday's declaration from the GRA and today's news of Ramps' response. Attention truck owners, if you're not shopping at Powered Automotive, you're wasting your money. Powered Automotive has all the major parts for all models of DAF, Freightliner, Mach, International, and more. No need to knock your belly here, they have all the parts you need at prices you can afford. Visit them at Lot 491 EE Eccles or call or WhatsApp them on 697-0171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana. You can multiply your cash by selling digital top-up. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money as your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Now for our Uncut News Viewers Poll Question of the Day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Ghana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. Last night I asked, should Ghana remain independent or join an oil cartel like OPEC? Dimitri V says, the only benefit of remaining independent from the larger oil syndicates is that you have a benefit of utilizing their resources to better improve your standing in the world. A lot of those nations are the top 10 GDPs per capita and flourishing. Unfortunately, not all of the nations are. For example, Venezuela's in there, and we already see how they're doing. But it all depends on if we have solid laws in place and a solid foundation for the future. Then, I would wholeheartedly agree with them being independent. Now for tonight's question. How do you feel about the Home Affairs Ministry's decision to keep the report confidential? Do you believe it is in the public's interest to release the RSS report of the Facundes murder, or should we just take the ministry's word at face value? I want you to think about that question, so send me comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying good night, folks.